Oh, you thought this was a rabbit? They thought this was a rabbit?
Oh, that's funny.
That's fucking funny, bitch. It's fucking Winnie the fucking Pooh.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Fuck 4th of July.
So you were saying you think there's going to be more Disney adults?
I think we're headed in a direction. First of all, am I crazy, or is this something that we've only had awareness of for the last few years? It feels like for like the last 10 or so years, people started to talk about it as an internet phenomenon. These people are Disney adults. And yeah, no, I was like, when I was in, we did this, that like, I took my kids, it's like 8:30 in the morning, the park starts, and then they can go until midnight. We ended up there until close to 1 a.m. And it kind of seduces you, and that like after a while you're like, there's no president, it's just Minnie Mouse and like these little Muppets. And I can easily see a scenario as American empire collapses where more people are just like, fuck it, just put me in the fake world with the duck. I want to talk to the duck.
Well, we've got guest Maddie Peltz here today. Madeline, what's your take? Disney? Yay? Nay?
I'm short on Disney. I think that the point about there being no president is definitely a good one. I mean, in terms of whether this is a new phenomenon, you have the rise of influencer culture that put this phenomenon
right
front and center. And that, Disney will pay for people to relocate their families to be closer to Disney World, and their job is to go to Disney World every single day and film content. So
your job is to be a professional Disney patron?
Yes.
Fuck it, I'm ready to do that job. Let's
wrap up the podcast. We're done.
Enough is enough.
Who are you taking with you? That's a solo mission, or the kids are coming?
Come with me. You can come with me and hang out, and I'll film some ducks. And so the best part is the Radiator Springs place, because it's like that's the most lobotomy of all the Pixar movies. It's just like car win race, and like they spend like a billion trillion dollars on this just to make it look exactly like Radiator Springs with like the cozy cone and that sort of stuff. And you just go in there and it's like, you don't need drugs to feel stoned. It's just like, that's it. It's just your whole brain is dialed down the second you're in that place.
Oh, well, we're talking about the July 4th celebrations in Washington, D.C. today, which is its own kind of Radiator Springs for a different kind of adult.
Yes, much darker.
But before we get there, as always, got to plug the Patreon. If you like this show and you want to support us, we are listener-funded, ad-free. This is a show for the doom scrollers, by doom scrollers, I suppose. But
doom scroller adults.
Yeah, doom scrolling adults. Cargo fast. Phone needs charge. No, but Mike, I guess to kind of start laying out the context here, you sent me a link to a Gallup poll that showed patriotism in the U.S. is hitting a 25-year record low.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Yeah, people aren't into it. I don't know. 4th of July in Chicago was pretty murky. It was foggy. Madeline, you're in Chicago. I saw you earlier today. What did you do on the 4th when it was like gloomy?
I mean, I've just been mostly hanging out with my parents I watched the Meg 2, which is awesome. The Meg 2 is a collaboration between a Chinese film studio and an American film studio. So there's like an unusually high amount of dialogue in Mandarin. And also Jason Statham has a Chinese daughter named Mei Ying. And like it starts with a dinosaur Or sorry, it starts with the megalodon eating a dinosaur. That's like the first 30 seconds.
And megalodons are like sharks, right?
Yeah, so a megalodon
They're like big sharks.
Is a giant shark. It's like 100-foot shark. So anyway, it's awesome. That's what I did on July 4th. Sorry.
Yeah, I just stared out the window. But Mike was in sunny California. But let's talk about what happened in DC. So I don't think it's going to be a lot of news to our listeners that there was a big Trump-themed fiasco in DC. But to catch people up, I thought I'd just kind of go through how we got there and what exactly it was. Because America's 250th birthday in DC was not exactly what people had been planning on it being for roughly the last decade or so. So in July 2016, Congress passed the United States Semi-Quincentennial Commission Act, signed into law by Obama at the time to create a bipartisan commission called America 250.
Little did they know, by the way, who would be running this.
That forms November 2nd, 2020. Trump signs an executive order creating a 1776 commission so that the White House would advise that official commission on the planning. When Joe Biden was in office, his first day in office, actually, January 20th, 2021, he rescinded that executive order and everything was back to bipartisan, happy-go-lucky, George W. Bush and Obama kissing on the lips kind of thing.
Right.
January 20th, 2025, Trump's back in office. He reestablishes this commission. 9 days later, he signs another executive order creating a White House task force on celebrating America's 250 called Task Force 250 and a new initiative branded Freedom 250.
Okay, cool. Different flavors.
Unlike America 250, Freedom 250 was led by the White House. And the group was allowed to, but not required to coordinate with America 250, the official commission. Throughout 2025, the Trump administration took over much of America's 250, that leadership, which drew a bunch of criticism from Democratic lawmakers. Trump put Fox News hosts and Trump campaign officials in charge of the organization, dropped contracts with contractors that were connected to Democrats, and partnered with conservative organizations. Some examples of this: Prager University, Dennis Prager's pseudo-educational online, if you want to hear Dave Rubin be like, and here's why Democrats are actually the new slave owners in America. They're going to... That's the educational material.
For our audience who may not know, Dennis Prager is in very ill health. I believe he's he's pretty far along, not a good way, as far as we can tell based upon pictures that people have posted. Maybe in the Mitch McConnell way.
Yeah, he's like a Bolsonaro, where it's like every couple weeks there's a new photo of him in a hospital bed, and it's like,
Yes.
Okay. Freedom 250 also partnered with Moms for Liberty. Trump rallies and events featured America 250 branding. The website was adorned with photos of Trump. Democratic officials that were involved in planning of America 250 were taken off of the website. In other words, they took what was supposed to be, in theory, a bipartisan celebration of America's 250 and made it completely MAGA.
Oh my God, really? I would never imagine that they would do something like that. That they could do that in the face of our shared holiday. They would do something like that. They would make it more MAGA.
I'm sorry to all the listeners who just spit out their drinks, but...
I mean, at least we know that all of the funding is above board. That we know for sure.
Definitely.
Well, funny thing about that, you would think so. You would think. But Freedom 250, unlike America 250, doesn't have to disclose its major donors and isn't subject to independent oversight, unlike this congressional organization that was formed.
Not under Donald Trump's watch.
And while
the same Donald Trump who gave us Trump coin, that same person, I find it hard to believe that it would be difficult to track what was going on.
And while America 250 was, they adjusted this later, but initially set up to only operate with money it could solicit through charitable donations. Last year, the Republican reconciliation package earmarked $150. Sorry, that would be nothing. $150 million of taxpayer money.
That's my 250. That's me running it.
Yeah.
Someone runs down a Target.
It's me sending a $10 Venmo request to everybody I know. I'm getting back $150. No, so it's a combination of dark money and taxpayer funds running this thing, which is basically just complete right-wing media slop at this point. That is the lane of the stage. Heading into July 4th, DC basically has two side-by-side projects going. The older congressionally chartered, approved America 250, DC 250 civic programming, and the new and improved flashy White House Freedom 250 spectacle.
Yeah.
And the criticism is that Freedom 250 basically hoovered up all of the money and resources and attention that was supposed to be meant for America 250. And the Freedom 250 events are the ones that made the headlines. It was that Rededicate 250 freak show that you went to on the National Mall.
We were there together.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Right, yeah. So it's that weird religious thing. It is the UFC fight where...
Yes, we covered that on one of our premium episodes that someone tried to...
I was there.
Yeah. So, you went to that too.
Outside.
Yeah, you did.
I was outside. Yeah, I didn't get in because I last minute got up from my desk and was like, why not walk down there? And then as soon as I got to security, I realized I did not have a ticket, but I did have a backpack. So no one was going to let me in.
Right. Yeah.
So I ended up hanging out outside for a couple of hours with a bunch of street vendors and got to know the event through their perspective, which was interesting.
And happened to survive a would-be terrorist, or multiple. There were 23 people.
Yeah, with all the recon they did. But the real crown jewel of Freedom 250, there's some other stuff that went along with it, was the Great American State Fair, which is what we're going to spend most of the time talking about today.
I saw a lot of this online, but I'm ready for more information now that I've been de-Disneyed.
And then the Great American State Fair, it's still running until July 10th, but the big capstone of it was, of course, the July 4th celebration with Trump speaking on the National Mall, military plane flyovers, and the largest firework display ever. So let's get talking.
Didn't it wasn't there a threat of it blanketing DC in ash?
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Okay.
I was at the Great American State Fair for one of the days, but not July 4th, so I can talk about that too.
So the Great American State Fair on the National Mall, like I said, was the centerpiece of Freedom 250's Independence Day celebrations. Mike, do you want to read this excerpt from the Freedom 250 website?
It'll be my pleasure.
What the Great American State Fair is.
The celebration will unite and showcase all 56 U.S. states and territories in a single World's Fair scale event. This is an opportunity for visitors from across America to experience an unforgettable celebration of the people and traditions that define our nation. Our nation unites diverse states and territories to form the strongest country in the world. This once-in-a-generation celebration will feature live music, carnival rides, and dozens of hands-on partner activations. Activations?
Yeah,
it's a marketing term.
Okay.
Influencer marketing term.
Okay. Where visitors can taste, touch, and experience what makes each state and territory unique.
This is how I would describe Epcot.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of seems like what they were going for, though, right?
That is kind of what they were going for.
I mean, there was a decided lack of things to do there. So I've never been to Epcot or Disney, which is one of the one of the saddest things about me. But I mean, it's really like I do want to go. But there really was absolutely nothing to do there.
Yeah.
That's surprising because each day at the Great American State Fair had themes.
Oh,
Pretty much what you'd expect. There were days celebrating the military, days celebrating tech and business, faith, national heritage. This one's for all you Radiator Springs listeners out there. There's a day celebrating automobiles, education. But then there were also MAGA Mondays, Make America Healthy Again, which I think is what we covered on the last episode you joined us for, Madeline.
I was at MAGA Monday.
Okay,
Yeah.
tell me about MAGA Monday. I mean, what did they do to make it so MAGA? Make America Healthy Again.
I mean, mostly Brooke Rollins was there that day, and like a bunch of agricultural and farming sort of.
Who's Brooke
focused
Rollins? I
speaker.
actually don't know.
Oh, so Brooke Rollins is the Secretary of Agriculture. It's pretty unfortunate that you don't know who that is, because the truth is that she is one of the worst villains of the Trump administration, because she is the face of the administration's efforts to dismantle SNAP. She literally goes around right-wing media on a daily basis talking about how she is proud to have kicked 5 million people off of SNAP. And like the Democrats don't do oppo on her, I guess. They're not clipping her saying these things. And so like no one knows who Brooke Rollins is. She was previously the president of America First Policy Institute, which was sort of like after the first Trump administration, all of these people that were in the Trump White House needed jobs, and they started these new policy think tanks, and AFPI was one of them. And she was the president of that. She was involved in Project 2025. She was involved in the Trump campaign. And then she got this post as ag secretary. And she's literally like a mini Kristi Noem that like no one is paying attention to. So she spoke there. And I think she also made an appearance at the rodeo. But what I saw when I was there was I went there to see Michael Knowles speak.
Yeah. Before you get into that, I just want to say that you've also made a point that the Democrats are not really even mentioning SNAP at all. Like or if they are, they're not really spending a lot of time defending the policy.
Yeah. So there's a lot I could go into here, but basically the big beautiful bill was the largest clawback of public benefits in American history. It is the biggest rescission of food stamp benefits in the history of the program. And as a result, like 5 million people stand to lose their benefits. Right now, a lot of these work requirements that are designed to kick people off of SNAP are going into effect. So right now, you're starting to see people getting kicked off of the program, often through procedural means. And you are really not hearing much from the Democrats. At the same time, there's this narrative in DC right now about how MAGA voters are up for grabs. And I think we talked a little bit about this the last time that I was on the podcast. And the person that has taken to the forefront of this effort among the Democrats is Senator Cory Booker, who, is pretty much like like Cory Booker is the one who's standing up to say that he's the one who's going to win the MAGA voters. He's been pushing this thing called the Heal America agenda. That's his like MAGA initiative, and the SNAP proposal in Heal America agenda goes like this: if you buy fruits and vegetables with your SNAP dollars, then you can double the benefits. So without like getting too wonky, it's not that far away from Republican initiatives that seek to exercise more control over what SNAP beneficiaries eat. Really what you should be having is a doubling of benefits. And I'll stop, but I just want to say one thing. There's a bill in Congress that would restore the cuts that were made in the big, beautiful bill that every Democrat in the Senate Democratic caucus has signed on to. It would reverse the cuts from Trump's bill. But the level of SNAP before Trump's bill was like a few dollars per person per household. It was poverty supplement. It doesn't cover the cost of the meal anywhere in any 50 states. So what you really need is a major expansion of SNAP, not just going back to the status quo before. And that's, I think, where you're really seeing the Democrats fail.
Yeah, because that's always been the issue, right? It's like, well, why aren't they spending all this, spending these benefits on fresh fruits and fresh vegetables? And it's like, because that's the most expensive shit in the store. You can get processed food way cheaper, right?
Yeah, for sure. And here's a novel proposal. Give people more money. They'll eat healthier. You don't have to hold their hand. You don't have to berate them. You don't have to beat them over the head. Just let people make their own choices. They will, just give people more money. People are starving. Kids are hungry.
So back to the Great American State Fair. Before it even began, we ran into some trouble. We covered this a little bit on a premium episode, you and me, Mike. In late May and early June, performing artists started withdrawing from the Great American State Fair. Freedom 250 had announced 9 acts that were to perform, and after their announcement, most of them pulled out of the event. They had Martina McBride, they lost Martina McBride. They had Bret Michaels, they lost Bret Michaels. The Commodores, they lost the Commodores. Morris Day, Young MC, and Milli Vanilli all dropped. There were only 2 men left standing. Flo Rida.
I thought Flo Rida was also out. Is he not?
No, he performed.
No, he performed.
Good for him.
And Vanilla Ice.
I can't name, I've been listening to rap a long time. I don't think I can name for you one Flo Rida song. He's just like also ran.
It's jock jams.
It's like an even dumber Rick Ross.
So after artists dropped out late May, early June, Trump said, the concert series, as it were, we should just go ahead and cancel this. Mike, you want to read this True Social post from our beloved president?
We don't want singers with no talent. Big fees to put you to sleep. We've told them all to stay home. All we want is you, me, a few speakers, and the greatest music ever played. The same music, by that music is capitalized, everybody. You have listened to for years! Exclamation point. I don't understand. Understand what Grandpa sent a weird message. I don't understand.
We just want the best music. But we don't want to pay for it.
Okay.
I'll explain how that actually played out when we get closer to the end here. Instead, Trump said that he would headline, quote, the greatest rally ever. Country singer Lee Greenwood, who happens to be Stephen Miller's favorite musical artist, aside from Elvis Presley.
Yeah, there's just a series of videos of terrible things happening to people while that song played this 4th of July, but let's continue.
And then the opera singer Christopher Macchio.
It's like
Macchio.
Ralph Macchio, maybe?
Christopher Macchiato.
So now an anti-Italian bigotry podcast.
Oh my God. Madeline, I was lecturing you earlier today. I was like, you should go back to school and get more cultured, because Madeline was explaining she didn't understand like K-pop music videos. And here I am, fucking Christopher Macchiato.
Yeah, no.
Very dismissive. That's the name that Trump would give him to put him down.
So this drew some criticism, became like the centerpiece of criticism of all this hubbub around America's 250th birthday, that it had been hijacked by Trump and turned into a partisan spectacle or an extension of a campaign rally for him, rather than as this, good, wholesome, bipartisan celebration of the country. The decision to replace music, for the most part, with a Trump rally even earned some harsh words from people on the right, like Matt Walsh, who, I think believed it was a bad look, but mostly that it was an admission that the right will never win the culture war, that they can't get Milli Vanilli to play.
He's also looking for like little places he can punch MAGA just a little bit, because he's considered such a lackey. So he's like, well, I'll just take a little poke at this July 4th celebration.
Yeah. So all of this has happened, but they get it worked out for now. They're set to debut the Great American State Fair. So let's talk about how it actually played out. We've got a voicemail here from Dominic Gwynn, who's a very talented news photographer who listens to Posting Through It, who sent me this talking about what it's actually like on the ground. And then Madeline, I'll be eager to hear if you have anything to add or expand on.
Hey, Michael and Jared, it's Dominic. So let me describe some of the decor for Freedom 250 Great American State Fair / July 4th / Capitol 4th / Trump rally, because technically all of these things are correct. This is not an America 250 thing. America 250 is something completely different. Michael, you actually would know a little bit more about America 250 because of all of the ships for Sail Forth 250 that were going on in New York earlier today. The same thing was actually going on in Baltimore last weekend, and it actually started in New Orleans about a month ago. It's a whole thing. Let's move past it. So, on the mall, you have a series of tent structures. They're very clearly designed to evoke what Trump's ballroom might look like. Their corners are covered in wooden plaster. The entrances have wooden plaster columns on them. They don't necessarily stand up too well to all of the heat and humidity that are going on in DC. This system has been in construction for the better part of a month. When it was all being set up, I remember asking a guy that was doing crew, like, hey, what the hell is all this? And the guy was like, it's the Trump thing for 4th of July. I said, okay, well, what are you doing? He says, I have no idea. I'm here for Ohio. I said, okay, well, what's Ohio doing? He says, I have no idea. I couldn't even tell you that. But like, none of us know anything. The entire thing is very slapdash. The structures intersect at various points throughout the mall, and the mall is one giant grassy field that stretches all the way from the Capitol building all the way to the Lincoln Memorial. It's on the dirt part of it is where there's a lot of different vendors. Some of the vendors are states that have sort of exhibits set up. Some states did a whole thing, and some...
I'm sorry, I have to pause it. Dominic recorded this on the National Mall, and it is so much better with the opera behind it.
Is that Chris Macchiato back there?
Let's keep listening.
I'm so glad my tax dollars went to this.
Some states did absolutely nothing. And to give you an idea of that, West Virginia has an entire video game apparatus. There's a whole bunch of stuff set up to make you think of the John Denver song. And then you go over to Alaska and Hawaii, which actually share the same booth. And Alaska is literally just a screen printed kind of mural, whereas Hawaii is just 2 chairs. That's it, 2 rocking chairs. New Orleans had like a whole kind of jester kind of deal. It really all depends on how much corporate sponsorship, from what I'm told, your state was willing to go for. A number of people have told me that some states literally just wanted nothing to do with the Freedom 250 thing at all, and put all of their resources, whatever was left after Trump took over America 250 effectively, and decided to go with their own thing. Freedom 250 is Trump's whole thing. That is what's going on in the mall. It is Trump branded, Trump businesses. You're seeing SpaceX, there is Twitter X, there's TikTok, the Americanized version of TikTok now owned by the Ellison family, the major Trump donors. There is Boeing, there is John Deere, there is a whole bunch of other random corporations. Axel Springer, a German media publication that owns Politico now, they have their own kind of thing through their weird nonprofit, but it's kind of weird. All of this is like walking into a giant commercial You can kind of hear the operatic singing in the background. That is because Trump couldn't get any musicians to come to this thing. All of the musicians.
Hey,
I'm just gonna.
hey, that's a musician if I heard one.
Hey, well, that's Christopher Macchiato.
Hey, Dom, what about Chris Macchiato? You're not familiar with Chris Macchiato? Yeah, the Ave Maria was beautifully timed.
Madeline, you also went to the Great American State Fair. Is there anything you'd add to Dom's report from the ground there?
So, my experience of the Great American State Fair was kind of like a reverse January 6th.
Go on.
January 6th obviously was shocking to everyone. Living in DC, like the reverence you have for the Capitol building is, you know, it's a museum essentially. It's a historical art museum. And so when you're there, there's like a ton of police and you're very well behaved. And to see that like ransacked the way that it was very, very shocking for everyone, but especially for people in DC who have been to the Capitol a lot. Going to the mall with no one on it was a truly surreal experience. Like having an entire lawn to myself felt like a fever dream. It was completely insane. So I went down there and it was 6 p.m. on a Monday and it was actually like pretty nice relative to the heat. So it was like a nice time to go outside and be on the mall. And also there was like shade. So I had a really nice like time outside. And when I got there, there was no one performing. And so they were playing like music in between performers on the big, Lollapalooza sized stage that had 0 people in front of it. And the music that they were playing during that transition period included a song by MAGA rapper Tom McDonald.
Yeah.
And one of the lyrics is "The devil is a Democrat."
Oh, yeah. Like, doesn't he have that song that's like "The liberals want to kill us" or whatever? And he's like playing a guitar, Jared, and he's like standing in like an empty space. Like
he's standing under a tree playing like a $5,000 Fender Custom Shop guitar, and he remembered, unlike a lot of musicians who just have guitars that aren't plugged in their music videos, there's a cable in the guitar, but there's no amp. The cable is just sitting on the ground, which is somehow even funnier than like not plugging the guitar in at all.
And it's like a kind of like it's like the structure of the song. It's like what if you did like one of those happy Blink 182 songs in a really sad downbeat way, right? He's just right. He's playing like 3 notes and just kind of singing about how liberals hate him.
I miss you, Charlie.
It's like the liberals, they hate us. It's like that's the tone of the thing. It's like it's like all the small things except like much more head injury coded and very bad.
We've got an idea of what it's like on the ground. We're going to hear from Dom a couple more times as we roll through the events here, since he was on the ground on July 4th in all the chaos that would come right before the Trump speech that we'll hear about. But the Great American State Fair is opened. It's opened by Kosh Patel's girlfriend, Alexis Wilkins, with a decent, fine, rendition of the national anthem. Kind of thing you'd go to the ballpark and somebody sings the national anthem and you're like, that's pretty good. But nobody really showed up for most of it. And photos of an empty National Mall, like you were talking about, Madeline, just these giant expanses of grass with nobody on them, were going around online, drawing mockery, ridicule, and it clearly bothered MAGA. And throughout the first week it was open, you saw a ton of cope from right-wing media. My favorite clips were from Fox News, which had what they would later call the Fox News Freedom Bunker out on the mall. Here's Fox News correspondent Lucas Tomlinson with some cope of this flavor.
Lucas, I have not help me out. I want to be a part of this. Well, it's a great day for Larry. Good afternoon. Perhaps now that the closing bell is here, we're going to get more people coming out here now that work is done. You mentioned the latest with Iran. Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner are on a flight to Qatar right now.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what was holding people back. The closing bell of the stock market. That's... I can't wait.
All the stockbrokers can come down and eat from the USA trough like a bunch of piggies. I'm sure they can't wait to do after they're done making millions and millions to come down with the other hogs and see the two seats outside of the Hawaii booth.
So while this is happening, the reflecting pool is turning green and peeling. There's that whole debacle. But here's another clip of somebody who was bothered by the reports of low attendance. Scott Lobato, who is a pro-Trump painter who was at the fair, said this in front of news cameras on June 27th.
I just want to make a note and revisit what you guys said earlier. I have never seen so many people, so many cool people. I'm a conservative, you know that, but there are Democrats here. And we're not talking about anything except patriotism and the celebration of America. So all of these self-hating media outlets who are saying that this fair is a failure, get your butt down here, and I will prove you wrong. This is historical. This is epic.
This is epic, dude.
It's also funny, though, because, you know, the messaging is inherently mixed. Like, they know they don't want liberals there. Right? It's like it's set up to chase them away. It's set up to make sure that they want to have nothing to do with it. They're like, we're in charge. It's our party or whatever. And then it's like everybody is talking about how much this sucks. And they're like, well, come on down and see it. Come down and see it. It's unbelievably. I mean, better fascists would have done much more with this.
So some protesters put a big ol' 8647 on the National Mall. That made some right-wing media mad. Vanilla Ice, the only artist still standing aside from Flo Rida, was set to perform on June 27th, but his set was rained out. Flo Rida did get to perform on July 2nd, though. And Mike, here's another Trump Truth Social post for you to read, this one from June 29th.
Do you think people appreciate what a fantastic job we did in building and operating the Great American State Fair at the National Mall, packed with happy people and everyone loving it? Ask yourself this simple question, all caps. Do you think that Obama or Sleepy Joe Biden could have done it? Answer is no.
Do you think? It makes you think, man. It really makes you think.
Well, I think the whole, mystique of Biden, I should say, is that some other 23-year-old college grad would have done everything probably while Biden was
probably would have done a fine job.
Face in a plate of peas.
But something else we have to talk about is something that went down on June 26th. A 54-year-old man who was live streaming from the National Mall, dressed up as Uncle Sam, was arrested at the Great American State Fair after multiple witnesses told police that they believed he was masturbating to acrobatic performers.
Acrobat performers?
Yeah, okay, so there was, Madeline, I don't know if they were performing when you were there, but there was a circus acts, basically. Aerial silks, hoops, that sort of thing.
I'm sorry.
And
I mean, yeah, that's exciting. That can be exciting.
Oh, fuck. They got acrobat performers? Just taking out his cock and he's rubbing it.
So this guy was there live streaming, dressed as Uncle Sam, diehard MAGA dude. And he's live streaming these performers. While he's doing this, according to witnesses that talked to police, they saw him putting his hand down his pants and believed that he was pleasuring himself on a handful of different occasions. Supposedly, the performers were getting uncomfortable. The guy calls himself Manny. He says he was set up, that he's not guilty. His supporters...
He was set up. They put acrobats that made him too horny. It's like he was set up to fail, basically.
Well, his whole thing, him and the 6 people that are diehard viewers of his, I guess, are like, well, there's multiple points in the live stream showing him reaching into his pockets to get things, and that's probably what they saw. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. I can't remember the last time I saw somebody reach into their pockets and like
What did he had like a
mistook it.
hamster in there? He had to rub his hamster in his pocket.
It's like, gotta stroke this. It's a delightful little animal.
Sorry, I've been getting ready for 4th of July. I'm trying to organize the package of Oscar Mayer wieners I have in my overalls.
I just want to point out how funny it is that there are so few people at this event that one guy just cranking it to the acrobats can get like articles in the Daily Mail. It's like, hey, I got all the 7 people were there. One of them did masturbate to the acrobats, and we would like to apologize about that. The other 6 attendees were very happy with the Hawaii chairs.
And then and then he's a Trump supporter, so in classic fashion, he's like, "I was set up by the deep state."
MAGA people get horny too, like Brian Noem, for example, Kristi Noem,
Katie Miller.
Katie Miller, yeah. Well, Katie Miller's she's got problems. She's constantly horny posting, and and Trump himself, who, as I think everybody has heard by now, knew a guy named Jeffrey Epstein. Knew him.
These were just like the beginning of the weird scenes at the Great American State Fair. There was a pancake eating contest in the fucking brutal heat.
What? Sorry, what makes that weird? Some of us like pancakes.
In the heat, Madeline.
Have you ever thought about going outside when it's like 100 degrees and trying to eat as many pancakes as possible without taking a drink?
No, but I am now.
How did the MAGA wanker do at the pancake contest is the real question. Did he work himself up into enough of an appetite?
He was back. I looked on his feed. He was back out on the mall for the 4th. So I guess,
fuck it, dude. What are you talking about? He was back in the ring. There was only 7 people out there. You want to jump in while he had a chance. It's like getting thrown out of the ball pit when you're a kid, and then like, they change the guard or whatever. They change the person, then you just go right back in. That's
yeah, definitely.
That's something.
There's a lumberjack demonstration.
What's a lumberjack? You can't just put lumberjack down. What is this? What is this event? What are we talking about? What is a lumberjack demonstration?
It's guys with really overpowered chainsaws. Like,
oh, I see. They're like buzzing through the wood.
Buzzing through wood really fast, or
this is what 250 years of America is. Right.
Yeah, this is American innovation in its finest.
Let's just pause for a second to think about what this event would have looked like under a different administration. Like, you would be talking about Bruce Springsteen and Beyonce up there, like not the lumberjacks would be the after party at best.
Willie Nelson,
yes,
things
Willie
that
Nelson.
Conjure up American 250.
The lumberjacks would be at town at like 11:30 p.m. Rest in peace.
Oh my God.
To a great queer club in DC.
It took me, they had an 18 plus night that I went to at the ripe age of 18. And one time, like, a gay guy came up to me when I was 18 and was like, he started kind of a little bit molesting me. And then he like picked up the back and saw there were X's on the back of my hands. And he was like, ugh, come back to me in a couple of years. So yeah, town rocked.
Thank you.
So there were a lot of scenes of administration officials talking to tiny crowds out on the mall, but as if the mall was full of people. Here's Dr. Oz talking, I believe.
And it's because there's tons of people here. It's a huge space, and it's just going to get more and more crowded as the week goes on.
Not only do we have a lot of people here, we have people that you want to have here, like Stacey Garrity. That woman's going to be next governor of Pennsylvania.
There
right
we
there.
go.
Yep, look
Hello,
at her,
Governor.
that beautiful red.
And it's because there's
And that audio came from a clip TMZ posted on Twitter where, as he's saying, and there's a ton of people here, the camera pans backwards to show that there's nobody there.
Amazing.
And then this gets us to a clip that you got, Madeline, when you were at the Great American State Fair of Michael Knowles talking to a 10-year-old about the Salem witch trials.
But the one area where the Salem witch trials went a little far is, I would say, they weren't organized enough. So you had these like random judges, kind of burning these ladies. I don't know if they were guilty or not, but I think if it were more formalized, built up a little bit more, maybe with like a grand inquisitor or something, that would have been a better way to do it. I am so impressed. I could not.
I don't know if the women burned at the stake for being witches were guilty or not.
Yeah. He's pretty okay. He's pretty okay with the idea of like women dying as punishment for somebody's idea, right? Like it's like, my idea is you're a witch.
And describing that death to a 10-year-old girl in a MAGA hat.
I saw him reply to your post that he said he was agreeing with the 10-year-old.
Okay,
but what's that mean?
So Knowles was there to promote a card game that he sells on thedailywire.com called the Yes or No game. Here's how the Yes or No game works. There are cards with declarative statements on them, and then there are cards that say yes or no on either side. So you deal out a declarative statement. In this case, the Salem witch trials were a good thing or something like that. And then the little girl has to guess yes or no whether Michael Knowles agrees with that statement. That was the program. It was mind-numbing.
It was an advertisement for a card game.
Yeah. So he was playing that game, and his last guess, he said, let's get the youngest person up there. That was his call, and she was the youngest person there.
Okay.
Yeah. And so she went up there alone. And he started telling her about the Salem witch trials. He explained to her that the Salem witch trials were a good thing and could have benefited from a more centralized organization structure. And then, which I didn't get on camera, as this segment was wrapping up and the little girl was leaving, he was telling her that she did such a good job and he wanted to give her something. And, I probably can't give you my branded cigars, because that's what he sells, are Mayflower cigars, because he claims that his family came to America on the Mayflower. So he said to this little 10-year-old girl, in a couple of years, I'll give you these Mayflower cigars. And that was his parting gift to the 10-year-old girl. And again, this was happening in front of, to be generous, I would say 35 people.
Man.
I'm also just trying to wrap my...
Happy birthday, America.
Yeah, I'm trying to wrap my mind around the fact that there's a taxpayer, funded event that's supposed to encompass all of us, and they're selling the Daily Wire's version of the Guess Who game or whatever in one of the booths. I mean, talk about selling it out for cheap, man. There's not even a liberal equivalent of that. It's so low.
There should be, though.
There should be one.
There should be some. We should have some more dipshits. I don't know, maybe not.
So.
That could be you, Madeline. That could be us together.
That could be us.
Dipshit. Put me in a booth.
The dipshit booth.
Put me in a fucking booth for $250.
So the main stage at the Great American State Fair at one point literally falls apart. There's a video from July 2nd that shows a big panel falling down from the rafters while a dance group was performing. The performance came to a halt, of course. Some other odd scenes. The National FAA organization, formerly known as Future Farmers of America, brought a cow to its livestock exhibition that was named Melania for the First Lady. Mike, you want to read what a student told the Washington Post about this cow and why it was named after the First Lady?
We were trying to come up with patriotic names for the 250th year of America, and we thought Melania would be a good idea because it's the First Lady's name and the hair colors kind of match.
I wish someone would name a heifer after me. Mount Olive Pickles withdrew from the Great American State Fair because the booth for North Carolina displayed a Confederate flag.
I like how Mount Olive is hey, yeah, we can't do this.
And again, like on Earth, in this reality, the headline from the Great American State Fair is that the Pickles withdrew because of the Confederate flag. On Earth 2, the headline is like, Beyonce brought out Destiny's Child.
Yeah.
The Pickles pulled out because of a trans flag. That's that's Earth 2.
So I think casting a shadow over all of these weird little stories coming out of the Great American State Fair and the abysmal attendance of it is some very dark shit going on with the Trump administration. There's all kinds of heinous talk from administration officials about birthright citizenship after the Supreme Court blocks an attempt to rescind it by a narrow 5-4 vote. There's also some opportunities for levity. Here is Stephen Miller getting booed out of his gourd while speaking to National Guardsmen that I just want to play because who doesn't like hearing Stephen Miller get booed to his face?
All of civilization can be fundamentally divided into two groups of people, builders and destroyers. Between the people who do the work to build, sustain, and nurture civilization, the people who serve, who sacrifice, who give, who care for others, who protect others, who defend others, and those who only destroy.
That's so... this is
Jesus
the
Christ.
face the administration's putting on. And then you also
Also,
have...
what's with the ambience? Like, it sounds like, you know, like, I don't know. It seems like a stage for a mental breakdown while Miller's talking.
It's like booing and I think a bullhorn doing a siren.
Yeah.
You also had this clip from Caroline Leavitt on Fox News that landed them in some hot water right before the July 4th festivities kicked off.
Unfortunately, I do, because this generation, my generation, I hate to say it, Gen Z and those younger than me have been raised with just silver spoons in their mouths, just getting everything handed to them. That's not the values this country was built on. It was built on meritocracy and hard work, pulling up your sleeves, pulling yourself up from your bootstraps, and achieving the American dream. And we need to protect it with all we got.
Is it laziness?
A little bit.
Is it because the professor said the country's corrupt, it's evil, and we just need to shake them down and hand money out?
It's laziness and it's the liberal indoctrination. You bring up a great point about our education system. However, I will say, a silver lining, so many parents that I talk to across the country are homeschooling, are turning to private education, are turning towards Christian schools across the country because they don't want their children being taught these communist and liberal ideas slammed down their throat. It's why President Trump in the White House has advocated so strongly for school choice across the country. We want...
That's enough of Caroline Leavitt, but
her very big social circle where everybody is sending their kids to Christian schools or doing homeschooling. I gotta pass this along because these are the fans these people deserve. One MAGA person I saw, said an angry response because it does sound like she's saying that people should go to the draft and get killed in whatever foreign country, Iran, wherever. The person who is obviously a misogynist and whatever else was like, well, these women, like, they take on all the politics of their husband, and she married a boomer, so that's why she's talking like that, which I thought was really funny. Those are the fans you deserve, Caroline.
Yeah, but I mean, to that point, I mean, this is somebody who went straight out of college onto Capitol Hill and just rose up in ranks by being a bootlicker, right?
Yeah.
And then married a rich old man, right?
Yes.
And it's like, you're going to talk about bootstraps?
No, that's true.
Seems like your life was pretty comfortable before you ever started working. If you
true.
could just waltz into the halls of power like that.
Yes. And one thing that was buried in there at one point, she and Hannity seemed to agree that, like, liberals are handing out money to people, and, like, can I have mine? Can I have my big wad of cash that apparently people are getting?
It's like, come to our state fair. You're a lazy communist and we hate you.
Yes. Oh, and then when no one comes, then they're mad that you don't take that invitation.
Right. Yes.
They hate America. They're delusional that they don't want to be here at the place where we're going to call them Antifa and say that they should be deported.
I'm sure we'll have a space for thoughts, but I would just say, like, it does feel to me, I just, like, all the celebration and the way they're celebrating it feels like they're gritting through their teeth, and it really feels like they are the people more than anybody who hate America, because they really hate what America actually is.
Yeah, well, at that National Guard event, Pete Hegseth was also there, and he referred to the protesters as ingrates. And it's like, you're talking half of the country, more than half of the country feels this way about you. So, like, yes, DC hates this administration for sure, but so do a lot of other people who watch that video and are thankful to watch the neighborhood come out and express their opposition to Pete Hegseth.
So the crowds do start filling in on the National Mall as we get closer to July 4th. Holiday weekend comes up, people file into town. But as Independence Day is growing near, DC is experiencing extreme heat. On July 3rd, the Great American State Fair had to temporarily shut down after attendees started getting sick from the extreme heat. Some were hospitalized. Highs peaked over 100 degrees, which can feel even hotter on the National Mall because there is no shade on the National Mall. Here's a clip of one of the attendees describing the heat, talking to a local news outlet in DC.
Megan, you were just over in the medical tent being treated. Tell us about how you're feeling.
Now I'm fine, but previously, none of these booths have air conditioning. We don't know what happened, but I started seeing stars.
Oh, really?
And we went to the tent. There's a religious tent because that's the theme for today.
Yeah.
And they had a pool. They're baptizing people. But thank God they had the pool. They said, "Do you want to get in?" I go, "Yes, I think I do."
I think I want to be baptized.
I'm soaking wet. But I went
hopping into the baptism pool to cool down. That's how hot it is.
I saw it.
You saw the baptism pool?
I was there. I saw the baptism pool. It was tempting. It's it went up to like your chest height. It looked like a nice little dip, and I was really hot. But I really, really didn't want to get baptized. So for that reason, I didn't get in the pool.
Well, you may remember
I'm just laughing
Trump-
at the potential Daily Mail headline to match the MAGA wanker. This is a Jewish anti-fascist journalist gets arrested for swimming in the baptism pool.
For skinny dipping in the baptism pool at the Great American State Fair.
Yeah, like there was someone who was like, so this tent that she's talking about, it's actually always there. It's called David's Tent. And apparently the ministry rotates. It's not just one ministry. So it was like this church in Florida that came in. And I know that because one of the like young teenagers came up to me and was like trying to get me to go to the booth. But I was very cranky. And I have spent a lot of time at right-wing events being treated like a freak for being Jewish. So I was incredibly rude to this poor evangelical teenager. And I ended up going anyway and looking at the baptism pool.
Well, you may remember from earlier, as this woman is hopping in the baptism pool just to catch a break from the heat, Trump's supposed to speak the next day. And when he's speaking the day before at Mount Rushmore, he says this.
On July 4th, it's going to be approximately 107 degrees out. And I'm going to go and I'm going to make a really long speech just to show that I can do anything. It's going to be 107.
Oh, please, Mr. President, definitely don't die on us. Definitely don't kill yourself doing the speech. Please don't. We can't bear it.
So that gets us to July 4th. The day starts out, the extreme heat forces the National July 4th Parade to be canceled. It's the hottest July 4th on record in Washington, D.C. Some MAGA pundits predictably claim there's a conspiracy afoot. A Kylie Jane Kramer, who is a former Sean Hannity producer, whose organization Women for America First helped host Stop the Steal rallies and the January 6th rally at the White House Ellipse that eventually turned into the Capitol riot. So not exactly just a random crank on the internet, but somebody who has, unfortunately, some amount of political pull, said this on X.
I'm telling y'all that someone with an extreme case of TDS geoengineered this weather in D.C. Same way they geoengineered Trump's inauguration to be one of the coldest in U.S. history. People with TDS hate Trump more than they love America. This is some real like frontal lobe remove shit.
Yeah, the person that has Trump's derangement syndrome in this case, I guess, is God?
Yeah. God. Yeah.
The Pope,
God.
maybe?
God. It's also like, it's amazing also with as much as people hate Trump, and boy, they fucking hate this guy. I'm not sure that it matches up to how obsessed they are with the idea of people hating Trump. Like, it's somehow more than people hate him, and people hate him so much. Like, multiple people were saying, like, hey, to me, like messaged me, like, being like, hey, Mike, Trump may do a speech in the heat. What if he dies? Like, people hate him. But they are more obsessed somehow with this idea than people's hate even measures.
So the day begins with hundreds of Patriot Front members marching in D.C., one of the biggest showings that group has had in a hot minute. Patriot Front is a group that a lot of MAGA media has spent years claiming is a false flag by the FBI made to embarrass Trump supporters. So, I don't know. I thought Kash Patel was cool, but that doesn't sound very cool. J.D. Vance gave a speech in New York City to start out the day, called on Americans to reject people who might criticize America for some of its flaws and instead embrace our sense of national unity. I'll play a short clip of that real quick.
To celebrating, but you will hear a couple small but loud voices today speak obsessively not of our national greatness, but of our national imperfections. They will speak of the powerless and the dispossessed. They will tell you that America is just another country where the weak struggle against the strong. And if they acknowledge that there is anything to be proud of in our history, they'll say it's the fact that sometimes the powerless have won a zero-sum battle. They're wrong. They'll talk about America's sins with the anger and zeal of a brimstone preacher, but without any of the grace or forgiveness that must be present in the Christian faith.
Is he doing like an Al Sharpton impression?
I thought that too.
Sort of, yeah. And he's like, people will say it. They'll say this. Let me explain quite in depth what they will say. But shouldn't they be nice today? Shouldn't they be nice about it? I think they're a little too mean about it, yeah. Contrast that with the messaging of his administration. Mike, I've got another Trump Truth Social post. This was the first thing our president posted on July 4th when I looked that morning.
Has anyone seen a happy Democrat? President Donald J. Trump. He's not saying that he is the happy Democrat. He's saying he's signing off. But you can read it. It almost reads that way.
Or how about this White House post from Twitter on July 3rd? This was lifted from a line in the speech Trump gave at Mount Rushmore.
Oh, I like this one. You can be a communist or you can be a patriot. You cannot be both. I also think that this message was muddled a little bit by inviting Mamdani in for tea, if you recall, and just kind of like rubbing his face against Mamdani's sleeve to try to get, to be approximate to him. And then Stephen Miller said on X.
Oh, yeah, you got this.
It is impossible to review the events of the last decade and conclude that it is anything other than divine providence that Donald J. Trump is the president of the United States on the year of America 250, July 4th, 2026. This is insane shit. He lives in a world of, it's fan fiction where your boss.
I would love for him to explain to me what he thinks divine providence means in this context.
I think it means chosen by God, right? Like we're on some like Egyptian pharaoh stuff. right? Where it's
he's like, there's a racist president for its 250th. That's what he's really saying. God did that.
Yeah.
Jake Lang, who we've talked about, the Capitol rioter who's just turned into an outrage porn influencer. Him and a single friend showed up to the Supreme Court to flash around signs that say that women should be banned from serving on the Supreme Court. A handful of indie journalists show up and film him there for a reason that is not clear to me. There are some big lines for the first time to get into the Great American State Fair. Some people are waiting hours in the intense heat. But then, late afternoon, storms start to roll into D.C., and they have to evacuate the National Mall for fireworks watchers and people who are lined up waiting to get into the National Mall. We've got another voicemail from Dominic Gwynn here.
Hi, posting through it. This is Dominic Gwynn. It is 7 o'clock on July 4th at the Great American State Fair on the National Mall in Washington, D.C.
Take shelter in your vehicle or a nearby permanent building. Please
you may be able to hear the evacuation warning for very strong thunderstorms that is suddenly shutting everything down. It has been hot as shit all day, with people dropping left and right. It's been over 100 degrees.
Your attention, please.
Most of that shouldn't be new to anybody. They've been trying to pass out water for people all day long. Bottles of water have just been in stacks and on crates. People are passing them out at entrances. The line to get in for the general public was probably about a mile long. It is the genuine opposite of what it's been for the rest of the week, where there has been nobody here. Right about now, as everyone scrambles to find shelter in DC, where there is no place to really seek shelter except the Smithsonian Metro Station, or maybe a bar if it's still open and you're far enough away. I'm kind of curious to see what's about to happen. I will be back with another update.
The Freedom 250.
What ended up happening was thousands of mostly Trump supporters scrambled off of the mall, not only going into bars and the metro station. There were also hundreds, if not thousands, that went into the African American History Museum and had to take shelter there, which some people were rightfully pointing out online, was perhaps a little bit too overt as a metaphor. But hey, supporters were getting restless, though. They had been in the heat all day long, sweating their asses off, feeling like shit, because they wanted to hear Trump speak. And with the National Mall getting evacuated and people being told to scram, people who had been standing in line to try to get a good spot at this Trump event were not having it. And they started having some choice words for the police. Let us in. Trump vows that the show will go on. He goes on to Truth Social and is like, listen, we'll wait out the storm. Even if I have to give a speech at 4 a.m, we're going to do this thing because it has to happen on July 4th. And Fox News, like this starts to become the line for the night. Fox News is like, oh my God, he's going on. The show will go on. He's up against the storms, the rain, the lightning, but he won't stop. He's going for it. He's going for the jugular. Here's something.
It's like Kurt Schilling with the bloody sock in the baseball playoffs, where it was like, oh my God, I don't know if he had what he had on his ankle, but that was like, oh my God, I can't believe he's pitching. I can't believe he's pitching through it.
Here's a fun clip from Fox.
And the president saying if these veterans can survive, bad weather and storm the beaches, I'm going to give this speech tonight, which is a remarkable message as well. But
comparing it to D-Day is what he's doing, which a fun fact about D-Day was actually postponed today because of inclement weather.
I didn't know that, actually.
So It looks like nothing's going to happen until about 9:45 p.m. The gates reopen and Trump is going to go on at 11 p.m. We've got our final voicemail here from Dominic talking about the scene before Trump goes on.
It is just about 11 o'clock. We have finally been given the all clear to go up on the National Mall. The rain has finally stopped and moved on. Trump is set to speak initially from the guidance that the White House and Freedom 250 sent out. It was looking like it would be a 15-minute speech, but I've been covering Trump stuff for over 10 years, and I've never known him to not speak for at least an hour. The general consensus among some of the other reporters that I've talked to is about 45 minutes, but some of the crew that I've talked to have said he's probably going to speak for about an hour, which generally tracks because it's Trump. We don't know what he's going to talk about, but it's Trump, so it's probably going to be a little bit of everything and a lot of nothing. The entire lower section of the mall is now blocked off by the Washington Monument, so that the State Fair section is basically housing all of these people. There's kind of a mad dash to try and run around down 12th Street and get into the next security perimeter, where people are told there's fireworks, but that's also where the security perimeter for Secret Service is apparently setting up. It's a giant clusterfuck. No one really knows what's going on, including the crew. So it begs the question on where do you want to go? There's a giant stage set up in front of the Washington Monument, which kind of blocks the view of the fireworks, but it's a giant stage and screen. So you could theoretically watch the fireworks on the giant stage and screen as opposed to watching the fireworks literally on the mall or just over on the Potomac. I've been coming down here since I was a kid. I used to always go and watch the fireworks in front of the Washington Monument. Can't do that this year. It used to be like the coolest free thing, and now it's not. So
complete clusterfuck.
Yeah, I should say that is something that I think needs to be highlighted, which is like all the money and the grift that goes on. Is it actually hurts free entertainment? One thing Mamdani has been very successful with early on is he's had like these maps to like free events and things like that in New York City, which is not like doing socialism. It's just highlighting the things that socialism can do, I guess, in theory, even if it isn't socialism yet. And, you know, that's how important that is for people who don't have a lot of income, right? It's like, oh, we can do this event and, you know, it's good for everybody. And when, you know, MAGA fascism comes to town, it also has this like hyper grifty like element to it. There's always this, you know, siphoning money off of the public. And the ultimate thing that is taken is not just the money off of taxpayers and that sort of thing. It's the communal experience, the experience we all come down and watch the fireworks and enjoy them together.
So around 11:20, Trump takes the stage. Pretty stock speech. I mean, sort of what you would expect. He's wheeling out a parade of veterans, historical flags. Some astronauts are there. He's like, isn't this great? It's so good. America's so good. Every few minutes, he's interspersing this with like a rant against communism. That's the White House's new thing. It's just being like, this is awesome. You know who couldn't do that? Communist. Could a communist do this? And then they like shoot themselves in the leg. And then there was one thing he sort of peppered in where he ranted about the SAVE Act, which is a voter ID bill that has been widely panned by civil rights organizations, legal groups, as being way over the top and restrictive and almost certain to disenfranchise particularly poor and minority voters if it were to take effect. They haven't been able to get that through the Senate, and the administration is not happy about it. There was also, through some lines in there, Trump was like, well, I guess, I could say it's my third term as president, but I don't want to be controversial. And it's like, well, you just said it, dude. And that kind of gets us to the end of the night. He runs about, I think what Dom was saying, about 45 minutes. Shortly before midnight, he stops and the fireworks start going off. I know, I'm just going to say this. I know it caused a ton of air pollution, but I thought it looked kind of cool. I'm a simple man who likes big boom. I also think military flyovers are pretty cool. I like airplanes.
Yeah,
When I was growing up as a kid, I thought I wanted to be a pilot for the longest time. And if my career ever goes belly up, who knows? I might still go to flight school someday. But I think that stuff is cool because I'm a very simple man. But all the haze from the fireworks, it did make it less cool as it went on. At first, everything's going off, and I'm like, whoa, damn, that's a lot of fireworks. And then by like the 20th minute of it, I'm like, okay, I can't really see fireworks anymore. It's just like a rainbow haze in the sky. There was a band playing covers. Got the YMCA rendition, sort of crowning it out as a Trump rally. And then I guess last thing in this timeline of all things stupid that happened around July 4th, I'm just going to read this post from Dave Holmes on Blue Sky that I liked. The nonstop grand finale fireworks display against the serviceman singing the 70s gay blowjob anthem with the Vineyard Vines broccoli children clapping all along is significant somehow.
Wait, what is Vineyard Vines broccoli children?
Oh, just upper middle class crust kids with the sort of
it's like a shirt that you see around.
Wow, that is a vivid description.
It's significant somehow. I tend to agree with Dave here, but that's what I got for this timeline.
What a fucking shit show! Well, thank you for educating me. While I was busy being a Radiator Springs car.
What was going on in Radiator Springs for July 4th?
There's, they just have the cars and then just kind of roll up, and who knows if there's anyone in them or not. And then the kids come and go, oh, and they go running to the car and then just stand with it for a while. And then you wait like 90 minutes online to go on the race for a while for Doc to tell you as a car, like, start your engines. It's like you have like 90 minutes for that. Or you get to go fast. You do a fast track thing and you have to pay $69 for 3 people. That's what I learned in order to go fast, which I did on top of everything else that costs money.
Wait, $69 for the fast
for one
pass
ride,
thing?
or you had to wait for 90 minutes to get on the car. Yeah.
Wait, when it's $69 per ride?
No. Disneyland has all its things, and then if you don't want to spend 90 minutes waiting to do the Radiator Springs ride in Disneyland, you have to pay $23 per person.
Oh.
That was free when I went to Disney as a kid.
So you get to accelerate it. You can't even. There's no like lightning. Don't worry about it, everyone. It's not important. Let's talk 250th.
250th. Madeline, what are your thoughts just on America's 250th
you encountered
birthday?
these people face to face.
Yeah, you were actually there.
I mean, it's just like the people of DC are sick of being treated like this. And my concern is that is going to spiral into something very unfortunate in the frustration of the summer heat. In the last couple of weeks, the number of National Guard troops in DC has doubled. And the National Guard is harassing Black people in the city. They don't have the power to arrest people. So when they claim to see someone committing a crime, they basically citizens arrest them until the real police get there. And all of this is to say, and then you have Hegseth and Stephen Miller leaving their little military bunkers to go up to Malcolm X Park, which is not only a beloved community center, but historically a site of Black civil rights organizing. And so it really is a increasingly volatile political environment in DC right now that is not safe for the residents of DC, and it's also not safe for the National Guard's members. So, what I would like to bring to the attention of the audience is that several Democratic governors have sent the National Guard to DC for the purpose of this 250 celebration. And, if you live in the state of Michigan under Governor Whitmer, if you live in Minnesota under Governor Walz, Josh Stein in North Carolina, or Wes Moore in Maryland, all of those governors have sent their troops to DC for America 250. And I think that if you're looking for something to do in all of this, you should, petition your government and let them know that you don't want your local National Guard in DC for no reason.
What I would say to this, I'm most interested in what this says quickly about MAGA and about the midterms, because the midterms, not so much about like who wins elections and that sort of thing, but just it has a huge impact on the culture, the way we treat the midterms, the way people run, the propaganda that goes back and forth. And the emergence of this communist thing seems much more deliberate, and it's happening with more frequency. And it seems like they've really started to debut it around these events where it's like, okay, we're the patriots, you're the communists. It is, I think, something that they're going to be putting out there a lot in the last stages of these midterms, this stuff about communists, Antifa. I think they must know, everyone other than Andy realizes that Antifa, nobody cares. Like it's not a big driver, but communists, they're going to try to create some kind of paranoia about leftists that they can use to give themselves a better shot, or enough of a shot where they can use whatever hijinks to try to keep them over the line during this midterms. And the effect that that's going to have on the culture is going to be could be pretty scary. As Madeline said, she just, I hope this doesn't, turn in a violent direction, whatever anger is there. The same thing can be said of if they get their wish, they're going to have a lot of MAGA people hunting for communists. And even people who work for the state, of course, right, looking for communists. And it seems like those are the two-pronged targets, the scapegoats, or immigrants and leftists.
Yeah. When I think about the Great American State Fair and the 250th celebration, to me, it's just interesting, right? Because when we rebooted the podcast, it was at a moment where it felt like MAGA had its hands around the throat of American culture. It was just permeated into everything. And it was a very unusual moment where it felt like they had the upper hand in the culture. But now, a year and a half later, around what in any other, as you said, Madeline, World 2, Planet 2, right? Would have just been like, grounds for America, fuck yeah. The Onion would have run those pictures of, Joe Biden washing the Firebird, in the White House driveway again or whatever. Instead, they took it, made it entirely MAGA, soaked to the bone, to the point where you have Michael Knowles out there hawking a card game and, branded cigars or whatever. And surprise, surprise, nobody wants it. Nobody liked it. Not even MAGA people liked it. Plenty of people showed up in DC for July 4th. I think that was probably going to happen anyway. And it's a big Trump event, so diehard Trump people, I'm sure, came from all around the country just to be there with him for that. But everything else on the docket was just a massive failure. And if we're thinking about how much money got poured into this, a total which we may never know, because the White House Freedom 250 doesn't have to disclose where any of its money came from, in addition to the $150 million it got of taxpayer money. I'm looking at all of this and I think there's no fucking way this was $150 million, right? So it's just such a tremendous waste. right? But if anything, for somebody of, our political persuasion, if you will, it is maybe a little glimmer of hope that the culture, whatever cultural dominance they may have had a year and a half ago, is completely gone now. And they've overplayed their hand and people aren't buying it. Charlie Kirk is a meme. It feels over for them. Whether they leave power peacefully or not is a different question, right? I think the real next struggle that this country is going to have is not deciding whether or not they're down with this, because the country seems to largely have figured it out by now, but it's how to get these people out of power will be the question.
Yeah. I think one thing you touched on without saying this directly is this kind of MAGA friend-enemy propaganda is not making anyone feel good. Everyone we know hates it, but even their own people at this point are not. I mean, patriotism is just down. So if you're not like MAGA, you're not just if your only criteria is that Donald Trump is still my president, is the only thing that makes you be proud of this country, then you're fine. But everybody else is sick of it. Even if they're conservatives, I'm sure they're sick of it. They're sick of they may blame the other side, they may blame communists, but they feel like shit. And this is the America that's being presented to them. It's this friend-enemy thing. Of course, no one likes it.
I think that also you have to ask yourself, they're definitely sick of this cult of personality, but what are they hungry for? And what are their children hungry for? Where is this going? I mean, I don't think that's even that far out of the question. Like,
the children yearn for state-owned means of production.
I really do think that young people are going to start thinking of themselves as workers in a collective, because, that's what so many young people are, or even aspire to be, and can't get into the entry-level job market because of AI. And so I think that people are sick of the Trump thing for sure. But the question of who picks up that desire for something new and what the something new is still very much an unanswered question.
Well, happy birthday, America. Madeline, what kind of tunes you rocking lately?
I mean, okay, I actually was thinking about this because I knew that you were going to ask me this. And the truth is that, okay, Michael and I have been in a serious relationship for the last year. Okay. So we spend a lot there's the posting through a bombshell of the episode. And so we spend a lot of time together. So yeah, I listen to a lot of his music. So yes, I was walking down Michigan Avenue today listening to Aphex Twin.
When he booked Madeline for this, I was first anticipating they would just be and Jared talking about it. Then he said we have a special guest, and so this is what I got here, being blown up at the end of the episode.
The reason why Jared messaged me when I started saying in the group chat that Michael Hayden rhymes with Iron Maiden, and then he privately messaged me and said, "Do you want to come on the podcast to talk about it?"
Yeah.
So
let's talk about it. If anyone's still hanging with us after an hour and a half now,
it still rhymes.
We got posting through it after dark now. Michael Hayden, Iron Maiden. It goes together.
I should say before we go, we should also just plug before we go. I want to plug Madeline's got a book coming out in the beginning of 2027.
Good Girls and Alpha Males, how the conservative media is targeting Gen Z. I want to give a shout out to Dominic Gwynn for sure, because that's not easy reporting that he did. The heat, the crowds,
he's also an aficionado of Berkeley Springs, West Virginia, which brings me to the fact that there will be an audiobook of Strange People on the Hill coming in the future, which some people asked me for.
This is great news for our listeners that don't know how to read.
Yeah, that don't know how to read.
For your dogs while you're going to get groceries, you can put this on when you leave the house.
And in October, it looks like there will be posting through it live at my alma mater, New York University, me and Jared and Christopher Matthias. So we'll have more information about that over time. But if you're listening to this now, you might be interested in experiencing that in person.
All right, folks. Take care.